Welcome back to American Warrior Radio right here on AM 1300 WMEL and online worldwide at 1300WMEL.com, sponsored by AVET Project. We are in an awesome location. I mean, when you got to do a live remote, this is the place you want to do it, right from the Tycho Warbird Air Show.
And this is fantastic. There's static aircraft displays. Somewhere approximately 1 o'clock, the aerial shows will start, and we'll get into that a little more later and tell you what kinds of things will be flying and performing, as it were. Not just flying, there's some performances, like, you know, that's a better word because it's more like watching the stage play or something.
Exactly. Well, folks, as you know, before the break, we were conducting a runway report, which is the exercise American Warrior Radio puts out there on a regular basis, all about things going on with the 920th Rescue Wing right there on Patrick Air Force Base. And we have with us Senior Master Sergeant Craig Kenedy. Sir, we appreciate your time, first of all, and your service to our country.
Thank you, Garen. I appreciate it.
And you were telling us about some of the... You've been in a long time. You talked about Hurricane Andrew. Off the air, you were telling us, how many saves did you guys accomplish down there after the hurricane?
Approximately 137.
That's an incredible story in and of itself.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, Homestead, which is where there's a big racetrack down there, it always finishes up the end of the NASCAR season. That's a general geographic area, and now they've opened it back up as a reserve base, right?
It's they call it a reserve cantonment area, and they have one squadron of F-16s down there.
One squadron F-16s. I didn't even realize they were F-16s. So there's no pararescuemen down there right now.
No, not anymore. Everybody moved up to Patrick.
And we knew that the Golden Knights had established some of their winter training down there. Do you know if they're still down there from the Army? They used to train out there in Yuma.
Actually, there is a drop zone down there, and by virtue of the weather, it's always been preferred training area. So, yeah, they still go down there.
Excellent. So after Hurricane Andrew, you guys had to find a new home.
We did. We were initially relocated to Tamiami Airport, where we conducted predominantly helicopter operations. Our C-130s went to Fort Lauderdale, and so that's where they operated out of. And so the pararescuemen were split between them, depending on the need.
How does that work in an AFSC, Air Force Specialty Code? Maybe you other military folks would identify it as an MOS, Military Occupational Specialty. How does an AFSC break down? How do you get to assign as a pararescueman to helicopters or C-130s, or do you just go back and forth?
As a pararescueman, you're initially assigned to both. You're qualified on both, and depending on what type of unit you go to, that's where you get your specialty. The 920th Rescue Wing is a composite, what we call a composite unit, and we have both C-130s and helicopters. We have our sister units down in Davis-Monthan, which are helicopter only, and then we have a unit out of Portland, Oregon, which is pararescuemen only.
And interestingly enough, folks, you want to stay tuned to future episodes of American Warrior Radio for the runway reports, because we're even going to have a Lieutenant Forshaw, who is in public affairs for the 920th. Her and her husband are going to be doing some road tripping, going between the bases, and they're going to be up in Portland, Oregon, and identify back with our stomping grounds, because Kim and I both moved down here from there some time ago. So I'm familiar with that operation up there. You ever go through Portland? You ever been up there through that?
Yes, I have, quite a few times.
Okay, and we were talking also about, and I want to get back to the memorial, because that's one of the key reasons you wanted to come on and talk, and I'm glad you did. But your deployments, your most recent one, tell us about that.
I was in Afghanistan in 2009. I deployed as the first sergeant for the 301st, the helicopters portion of it. So we went over there with about 80 people, and we just did rescue.
Did you do like an intensive amount of rescues?
It was day by day, but mostly the responding to IEDs, improvised explosives. Right. So our pararescuemen had their hands full.
Oh, yeah.
As did our helicopter crews, because they never knew what they were flying into.
Right.
From one mission to the next.
Wow. Well, hats off to all y'all again for the wonderful work you do and continue to do to this day. So
well, and the thing about pararescuemen, and this is a very, very specialized area of the Air Force, and we'll get to the lone survivor aspect of it in Colonel McCrander Skinny, but what folks need to understand is that they're multi-qualified. You're a pararescueman yourself. Again, give us a little overview of what that really entails. How do you become a pararescueman for all those young guns or young bucks out there that want to become one someday?
It's about a 1.5 to 2 year process, and what people do, the guys go through it. They go to indoctrination training, that's the selection school, and roughly 90% of those people drop out. And it's not like you get kicked out; you have to leave on your own volition. So from there, once you make that cut, then you go through scuba school, airborne school, free fall school, survival school, a number of interim schools before you show up at Kirtland for your final pararescue training, where you get your medical training, and you kind of tie all the things that you learned together to become a pararescueman.
And I would imagine, and I don't want to interrupt, Glenn, I know you were going to say something, but because of the intense training and the ability and the fast action in getting your guys off the ground and to the crash site or wherever you're needed, is probably why the mortality rate is so diminished from what it used to be in past wars.
They have a great effect. They really came to light in Vietnam when pilots were getting shot down and people needed to go in and get them. They did a great job then, and they continue to do a great job. During the Cold War, obviously there was no combat commitment, so we did a lot of civilian search and rescue, jump missions on the shipping lanes, helicopter rescues off fishing boats, you name it. So now they're really tied back into wartime and doing a great job.
Well, that's wonderful, and particularly in the wartime role, it seems to, my opinion, folks out there, is that these guys are the Air Force's equivalent to special operations troops and any of the other branches that you see, and somehow you guys avoid the spotlight, but you just do such a marvelous job.
Oh, thank you, Glenn. Yeah, usually the Navy SEALs get all the spotlight, but when it comes down to it, the pararescuemen are the guys who pick out the Navy SEAls when they're in trouble.
There it is.
and that leads into another quick subject before we get to the specific details of the memorial that you've organized, which is, like I said, one of the reasons you wanted to be here. Lone Survivor. You've all seen the movie now, I hope. This is with Mark Wahlberg playing the part of Marcus Luttrell, a Navy SEAL that was eventually rescued by... Go ahead, Craig, tell them.
By combat rescue.
There it is.
Okay, now, unfortunately, the Navy did assemble a team to go out there and try and extract him. He was the lone survivor out of a team of 4 SEALs, and their lives were taken, largest loss of life at the time in that effort to try and go get him. And Skinny engineered, Colonel McCrander engineered the rescue to go in and get him. The book comes out, the movie's now a big success. PJ's played an enormous part in this. Without the 920th Rescuing Pararescue Jumpers, we may not have a lone survivor.
Absolutely. The crews did a great job, and more importantly, the subsequent missions was to pick up the guys who didn't make it, the bodies. And that in itself, I was deployed in Afghanistan with 2 of the guys who were on that mission, and that was really something, what they had to go through.
Because they knew you were coming back for them, and they were ready for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My goodness. Well, our producer was over there screaming at me, not really, but I think unless they've sold out, we've got a couple of books, Lone Survivor, that are signed by Colonel Magruder, who is the actual pilot.
Yep, these things we do that others may live. Colonel Jeff Skinny McCrander, Halo 41, that was his call sign on the mission. We have him at the AVET Project booth. Come and make a donation, because it's going to go to help folks like the 920th Pararescuemen and so many others, military members and their families. And it's an exciting story. We've got some copies of the Missileer that ran the article about Skinny's involvement and all of the 920th. And you yourself, sir, you were a first shirt during that time over there, right?
Actually, not during the time Marcus Luttrell was picked up.
But when your last deployment, you were a first shirt.
Yes, I was.
Very briefly, what's the responsibilities of a first shirt, first sergeant?
First sergeant mainly takes care of the people. If somebody has a problem, he's the first guy they come looking for. If somebody's causing a problem, he's the last guy they want to see. So he just kind of keeps the law and order over there.
Okay, and again, looking after the troops, which is, I want to reflect back on the reason that we're here, and that is this memorial that you've organized, the Jolly 18 Memorial. What's the date that is taking place out of Patrick Air Force Base?
It's on Saturday, April 5th. So in about 3 weeks.
Okay, and that's going to take place where on Patrick Air Force Base?
In Memorial Plaza, right beneath the big flagpole there.
Between the two headquarters buildings.
Yes.
So if you have base access, if you can get through the gate, you can come to this memorial.
Absolutely.
And you encourage everybody to come.
We'd love to see you.
Who else is going to be attending?
Well, we've managed to contact the family and friends of the 3 Detachment 15 guys. Ron Martinez, the flight engineer, Mark Judy, pararescueman, and James Ferreira, another pararescueman. What we're having problems with is there was 2 range safety officers on that bird that night. Captain Jan Fuchs and Captain Dave
Hammond? Or Colonel Hammond?
No.
No.
It's right there on top. On the pictures.
On the pictures.
Keep talking.
Okay, well, we're looking up the name again here for the memorial that's coming up.
Scheffner.
And
So you're trying to
Captain
contact their...
Scheffner's,
Yeah, you're trying to contact their friends.
The families of Captain Jan Fuchs and David Schaffner. If anybody out there has any contact with them, please have them contact me. My phone number is area code 321-494-1193.
or you can get them through AVET and give them the contact there, Garen.
Exactly. We'll put it up on the Facebook. We want to see as many people come out as possible to support this memorial, which, like you said from the onset, is to provide some closure to these families.
Absolutely.
Outstanding. Again, Jolly 18 Memorial, Saturday, April 5th. We've been talking with Senior Master Sergeant Craig Kennedy of the 920th Rescue Wing, joining us on American Warrior Radio for another edition of the Runway Report. Sir, thank you again so much for your service and dedication to our country and for stopping by and sharing a few words with us today.
Thank you, Garen. Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate the
You bet,
time.
and please give a special salute to those family members, the surviving family members, when you hold the memorial, because folks don't forget, those also serve, the family members. It's a team.
Absolutely. If people haven't figured that one out, it really is a team effort, whether it's the mission's rescue or whatever it is. So.
Being married to a military man is totally different than not being married to a military man.
Absolutely. I'd like to give a shout out to my wife, Joanne. And
Hi,
thank
Joanne.
you, baby. I love
All
you.
right, we salute you.
What a good hubby. Thank you, Sarge, very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Enjoy the air show. And folks, again, that was Senior Master Sergeant Craig Kennedy. We'll have that information up on AVET Project, okay, so you can check it out. If you can make it on base, it's going to be a wonderful event. And just rolling on, we've got so much going on today, and we've got so many people we want to talk to and bring to you live on American Warrior Radio. Folks, if you have been around the Space and Treasure Coast and seen the newspaper, maybe you've seen Your Voice, which is a regular weekly, or Veteran Voice. We have with us the managing editor of Veteran Voice, Tammy Rates. Say hi, Tammy.
Tammy,
Man, you do exactly what you're told. I like that. And
I
you're-
follow orders, yes.
Great.
And you got the chevrons on your sleeve. You're out here having some fun, getting some stories, I'm sure, for Veteran Voice.
Oh my God, yes.
Well, thanks for joining us on American Warrior Radio, first of all. We appreciate that.
Thank you for having us.
So what are you getting accomplished out here? You were out here on Media Day when we first came out last Thursday.
Well, we took a lot of pictures. My photographer went up in a plane, and I actually had a photographer stop by earlier and said, I met your photographer. We were in the air together. And I said, what do you mean? There was only you and the pilot. And he said, no, I was in the other plane, and we were taking pictures of each other when we were up in the air. So I
Great.
can't wait to see what those are going to look like.
You bet.
Well, and your newspaper, particularly Veteran Voice, and you can talk about the other one also, but we're here in a military veteran-related event. And what's your impression so far?
Well, it's not my first rodeo here. I've been coming here for years, and I think last year they had 50,000 people go through here, and we were fairly new, but we made some good acquaintances, some good contacts. We took lots of pictures, we wrote stories, and this is, I think, the 37th year, if I'm not mistaken.
37th year, exactly.
Yeah, that's what we had down.
We do a lot of work with the Warbird Museum. We cover a 5-county area right now. I think that since we're only a year and a half into our venue, that eventually we might go statewide. I mean, Florida has 1.6 million veterans. I think it's the second highest number next to Texas. or California. I can't remember.
You know something about that, Glenn, being the past
Yeah,
supervisor.
it's next to California. It is the second largest veterans population in America, and I figured most of those people from California are going to eventually transfer to Florida like everybody else in the world.
Well, that's where I'm from. I was born in San Diego, but I wouldn't move back. I love it here in Florida.
That proves my point.
There you go.
And you know, we're out here at the Tyco Air Show, the Warbirds Air Show, right here in Titusville. You don't want to miss it. It's been beautiful. It's sunny. There's just some wispy clouds out there. It's a phenomenal day, and we just got a massive gust of wind. We are at an airport, folks, so that's going to happen. But hopefully that didn't destroy too much over in the AVET Project booth. Tammy, your February 21st edition of Veteran Voice has a special man on the cover, and he was out here for Media Day just the other day.
You know what? He was the first person we ran into. Mary and I, my reporter, were going into the museum, and he pulls up into the parking space right in front of us and says, rolls the window down and says, "Can you get the people to come bring me my wheelchair?" And I'm like, that's Colonel Mann. And I have a personally autographed copy of that paper with him on it. And I'm so honored and so in awe of the things that these men accomplished. It's amazing. And of course, we put the paper in front of him to autograph, and he goes, "Oh, you wrote about me. I need to read that."
Yeah, he's quite a character. He's one of the original Tuskegee Airmen, folks, and he's out here. He's in the VIP section. They're giving autographs. So a person could come out to the air show, stop by the Veteran Voice booth. Do you have any of these copies
Actually, we
available?
took them over to his tent.
Oh, so
and I don't know how many they have left at this point.
So there's another reason to get out here right now, folks, even before the big stuff starts to happen, is there's a meet and greet going on with Pearl Harbor survivor Earl Chaffee. We've got, Hiram Mann and a number of other Tuskegee Airmen. So this is just an extraordinary opportunity because these guys aren't getting any younger. We all get older as time goes by, and it's an opportunity to really come face to face with history.
It is. It's living history.
That's a good way to describe it. I like
Living
that.
I like living history. That's great.
I'm sure he does too.
You bet.
All right, so Veteran Voice, anybody just from the title can get an idea of what the newspaper is about. Give us a thumbnail sketch of what you hope to cover. Again, you're right. How many counties are you covering right now?
We're covering 5. We're in Brevard, we're in Indian River, we're in St. Lucie County, we're in Martin County, and also Okeechobee. And this is just, like I said, we're a year and a half old, so this is just the tip of the iceberg, I think.
And you hope to go statewide soon?
I hope to. My publisher, I think, has finally gotten the idea that, yeah, that might be a possibility because we've gotten great reception. I mean, there really is nothing like what we're doing.
What kind of news do you focus on in this newspaper? What's your target?
Some of it's informational, like I have a story that's pending for this next week on the latest GI Bill that is involved with just the Florida.
Which is big
Contingent.
news, just coming out of Tallahassee.
Big news. But we also do a lot of feature stories on individual people who have stories to tell.
Wonderful.
And we're very blessed at AVET Project and American Warrior Radio and even WMEL with Patrick McAllister, one of your feature writers.
He's great.
Yeah, he's written about us and our operations up here, and we certainly appreciate that. How can people get to know Veteran Voice if they don't?
Well, we
God
have
forbid
a
they haven't heard
Facebook
of it.
page.
Yes, tell us about that.
VeteranVoiceWeekly.com. If you go there, you will get there. We are a subscription-based paper, but it's $10 a year, and it comes in your mailbox every week.
Delivered to your mailbox on a weekly basis.
You can't mail a letter for that.
And no,
That's
and for
right.
$10, come on, people. You want to get this information. It's timely, it's fresh, it's well written. There's great photos, like you said, human interest stories. It's all wrapped together in a very neat package, and it comes right into your mailbox for how much?
$10 a year.
Oh gosh. You
A year.
You spend that at Starbucks in one visit, folks.
Well, and here's what I've found. If you're not a veteran, you know a veteran, especially in Florida.
Aren't we always
So
saying that, Glenn?
they make
Oh, absolutely. And you know, here's a wonderful newspaper. I get it, and
Thank you.
you know, it focuses on veteran news and veteran stories, and
You cover active duty issues too.
We do.
and you know, it's a great source of information. Gets better all the time, and I wish you great luck in expanding your market because I'm sure it sells itself if people just look at it.
I think I think it does, and I just want to tout my reporters because really I'm just the editor. I'm behind the scenes. I look over their copy, but they're the ones that are the foot soldiers out there doing the work. They're the boots on the ground. Patrick is not a veteran, but he has done a lot of work with veterans over the years, and that's one of the reasons I recruited him, and he's very good at what he does. He understands the lingo, which I think is very important.
Yeah.
Mary Kemper, who is our new reporter,
Tell us about her. She's out here with you today.
She's out here with us today. She's holding down the booth while I'm over here talking to you because we're selling subscriptions and we're collecting stories and
You
contacts.
should have a brisk business. Come on, folks. If you're all listening, get out here and subscribe to Veteran Voice now at the Tycho Air Warbird Show now.
Well, thank you for
Warbird
that.
Air Show. I get that confused.
Mary was in service about 2 years after I was, so 84, 85, and she did 3 years in Tokyo writing for Stars and Stripes.
No, that's
She's
great
also-
Impressive resume there.
She's also an award-winning Army journalist, and I am so fortunate to have her on board. She's doing a great job for us. We've been doing quite a few stories lately, as you might have noticed in the news recently, that the military sexual assault bill that just passed the Senate, 97-0.
Yes, the very contentious issue that continues to be contentious. It's I guess you'd have to say at this point far from being solved to the satisfaction of Congress and the military hierarchy, the leadership. It's an unfortunate problem that's existed for far too long in the military ranks, and it needs to be corrected. People need to recognize, regardless of your gender, you're part of the team. You're serving too, and forget the sexual stuff.
We're all soldiers,
Yeah, exactly.
bottom line.
And like you said, if there's somebody out there that's listening and hasn't picked up a copy of Veteran Voice, you've got a Facebook page. Mention that again. How do they find you on Facebook?
It's veteranvoiceweekly.com, and that'll take you there. You can subscribe online. We have a PayPal account button that I'm not quite sure where on the page it is because I don't go there that often. So I've already read all this stuff.
If somebody wants to contact you directly, maybe there's an advertiser out there that's got a soft spot for helping out our military and our veterans, or there's an individual that's got a story. How can they best get a hold of you?
My email address is TRAITS, spells the word traits, happens to be my first initial and last name, at yourvoiceweekly.com. And you can reach me on my cell phone, which is the only one I'll answer, because I'm never in the office, but I'm always working. Area code 772-370-0918.
Or email TRAITS, that's T Rates, Tammy Rates, at yourvoiceweekly.com.
That's
Because you
it.
cover both magazines. You do both the
Yes.
newspapers.
Yes.
And you're based out of where again?
Our office is physically located in Port St. Lucie, but like I said, we cover a 5-county area. And
Obviously, you're up here in North Brevard.
Mary's all over the place. Mary's my foot soldier.
Outstanding, outstanding. Folks, again, we've been sharing a few minutes here with Tammy Rates from Veteran Voice. I encourage you to, when you're at the air show, stop by the booth, sign up a subscription. One more time, it's darn near free. How much per year?
$10 a year.
Oh my
Per
gosh.
year.
Weekly in your mailbox.
Exactly, weekly in your mailbox. I've been a subscriber for, I think in April it'll be a year. Obviously, I'm going to renew.
Thank you.
It's just a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to read about some folks that are making news in the local area as well as national issues, all issues important to military and veterans.
Well, we appreciate your support, and we appreciate everything that AVET Project does.
Well, again, Tammy, thank you for spending a few minutes with us. Really appreciate it. Have a blast at the air show.
We are.
We'll be looking for the articles.
Yeah, you'll see them.
Awesome.
Great, and thanks for your service.
Thank you.
I want to get a quick shout out to one of our prime sponsors, Store Smart Self-Storage in Rockledge. And the reason that they're so important and so magnificent is that if you're a veteran and you have a need for storage, whether you're PCSing or it sounds like a commercial, Glenn, but this is how much they mean to us because they provided storage for AVET Project. Just give them a call. You can go to their website, storesmart.org, storesmart.org. Look for Rockledge.
Fascinating.
More, call them 321-433-3341. 433-3341. We'll be back in just a minute on American Warrior Radio. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, the news is coming up, but we got so much more news on the other side of the break.
Another hour.
Sounds just like your